Don gets a package of oyster crackers.
He'd be like,
He might.
I didn't know what it
Those
is.
are the little round ones, right?
Seriously?
Don gets those.
You
yeah.
get them in your clam chowder.
Don gets those. So we got some, yes.
Oh,
Find oyster crackers in your clam chowder. There's a problem.
I thought you got oyster crackers.
Not with your clam
But don't they come with...
chowder.
Oh, boy.
It's been a minute.
It's been...
I told you. Oh, is it going to take Dad to cry first?
Oh, it didn't take long.
Didn't take long.
How many times will Peaches
Didn't even make the recording.
Didn't even make the recording. Well, it might could.
It might could.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Outer Belt Podcast. I am Patrick, and you all know my co-host, the one, the only, James Chili Brown.
Hey! What's going on, everybody? How you doing tonight?
Oh, and of course, as always, and
And him, too.
in the house is Jer Bear. Welcome back, Jer Bear.
What's up, everybody?
I tell you what's up. You've completely changed the way we edit.
Completely.
Yes. The way I edit, I've changed the way we record.
It sounds better if I say we edit.
It sounds better if we say we, because then it sounds more like a team process.
Absolutely.
And not like it's just me and you sitting here talking, and then we just dump it all on Jerry and say, okay,
no, that
fix
wouldn't happen.
It. No,
Yeah,
that would not happen. It's a team effort.
It's a team.
It's a team effort.
You are absolutely right.
There's no I in team.
You're absolutely right. It is a team effort. It's like having Patrick the devil and Vince the god sitting on my shoulder while I'm editing
Hey, let's not.
and
I
going
don't know that
between.
he's a god. I think he's an angel, but
I
not
like
a god.
that, though. I like that. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, God Chili.
Devil Patrick, yes.
I'm an angel.
You are an angel.
Wait, is the
You're
devil
an angel that's fallen from heaven into hell. So, yes, you are an angel.
Listen, I can neither confirm nor deny any of the facts of which we are talking about. But the people aren't here to hear about that.
They aren't.
They want to know about how this insane weekend they saw all of us post on Facebook, Instagram, Instacart.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Grubhub, all of
almost said Tinder. What's it? Twitter. No, I'm sorry, X. Is it X now?
People are still calling it Twitter.
How do you change the name of a billion-dollar company and it's just like, oh, tomorrow our name is X?
2 words. Elon Musk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, let me
Yeah.
tell you, the last time I had $50 billion and bought a company was never. But we did share our weekend all over the place. We had a great weekend. It was so much fun. It was epic, and you weren't there. But Chili was, Eric and Melissa was, Buttermilk was, and we got started with America's Pastime. I believe, is that not the?
Yes, it is.
Is America's Pastime.
It is.
Road trip.
Yep.
And where did we go?
We went to Cleveland.
That's the city of brotherly hatred.
I think it is. I think it is. To watch the Cleveland Guardians play the Chicago.
Destroy.
Well, we went there to watch them play. The outcome was destruction.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It
so
was
they played the Chicago White Sox and whooped their tails.
It was beautiful.
We missed the action on Saturday, though.
Oh.
Saturday was the bench clearing brawl.
What?
Yes.
Stop.
Yes. So
Really?
Remember that play that got
Now, when you say bench clearing, like does that mean like everybody left the benches?
everybody left the benches, everybody left the bullpens, all the players on the field. One player actually punched another player. It's usually those fights, they don't land punches.
Yeah.
Knocked him to the ground.
Stop
Yes,
it.
I kid you not.
Oh,
I kid you
ESPN has
not.
replays?
I'm sure they do. I
got to go watch that. I had
But
no idea.
We missed it. All we saw was the manager getting kicked out of the game on Friday night.
That seemed like
And it seemed like
that
it was like,
pomp
let me
and
try and
circumstance.
pump up my players a little bit.
that was
and it may have worked
pump
because they
up the
did
jam,
win.
pump it up.
But yeah, Saturday night there was a bench clearing brawl.
Wow.
That we missed because we
I
went there
tell
Saturday
you,
night.
city of brotherly hatred.
There you go.
How do you turn America's
go.
pastime into a fight?
Right, you can't.
Well,
Really?
obviously you can.
What are you getting angry about in baseball?
Listen,
He didn't catch the ball right. He
There's-
looked at me funny.
I learned when I was a kid. I learned a few things. It was softball, but I think it applies to baseball. Is you don't fight and you don't cry.
No, you don't. There's no
And
crying in baseball.
There is no crying
We all
in
know
baseball.
that.
We all know that. And if you get in a fight, you're probably going to cry.
Probably gonna fly.
So
yeah.
then that means you can't cry. Or
You can't fight.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the
So-
way you avoid the tears. Is
exactly.
don't fight. Yeah,
Yes,
easy.
and bring your A game because Cleveland's going to kick your butt if they don't. The Guardians. I mean, listen, they're the Guardians.
They're the
You come in there
Guardians.
talking trash, they're going to
Yeah.
teach you a thing or two.
They are.
But it was a very fun game. We got there. Props to Panther, one of our carriers. They're the ones that actually brought us out there. Had a great time hanging out with them. They really rolled out the red carpet for us. We had a lot of fun. Got to really hang out with some of the key leaders in the organization,
Yeah.
but also people we work with on a day-to-day basis
Yes.
with recruiting, with operations and such. And it was really great to have that social time with them. So I really enjoyed it. Ended up staying in a hotel down there. And then we, after the game, we walked to Flannery's. I think it was Flannery's. Yes.
Flaherty's.
I think it's Flannery's because
It
I
could
thought
have been Flannery's. Yeah.
so. I thought it was like you said, Flaherty's or something like that. And someone else said Flannery's, and I'm like, that's funny because
Yeah.
in Louisiana where I grew up, not far from my parents' house, was a road called Flannery. The church I went to was on that road and everything. I'd never heard that name before outside of that road. That's the only way I've
Really?
ever heard that name.
Yeah.
And so we show up, and I look over the door, and it's "Welcome to Flannery's," and I was like, "I'll be darned, that's like a real thing."
It's a real thing.
And so we went and hung out there. Got to meet a couple of the fleet owners with Panther, and that's always fun. I mean, all of a sudden it goes from being we just won the baseball game, so we're all amped about that, to what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
what's your business
Yeah,
model? What are you doing?
exactly.
And it went even further because the guy I met is a really great guy. He's a pilot as well, and so I always enjoy that. There's a few other fleet owners I know that are pilots, and obviously, being an airplane nerd, you meet a pilot, and
Yeah.
that's it.
That's it. Conversation.
Conversation's over. This is
We're
all
talking
we're
base-
talking
of-
about
of
until
airplanes from
they
now on.
make us leave.
Yeah.
And so when you and Buttermilk and Eric were dragging me out
We were
of
literally.
of the establishment, y'all, yes, you literally were.
Yep.
Yes,
Yes, we were.
we had to wrap things up, but it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed my time there. And then that leads us into Saturday, kind of a late morning.
It was a late morning. I mean, we went pretty good Friday night at the baseball
did.
game and the post
Yes.
baseball game.
Yes.
And so it was kind of a late morning. We weren't in a hurry.
We really
we
weren't.
didn't have anywhere to be until what, 6 o'clock Saturday night,
Something like that.
and we just barely made it.
Barely made it, but we did make it.
We did make
It's
it.
not about how close you get to making it,
No.
as long as you make it.
That's it.
Or how close you came to not making it. As long as you make it, you're good to go.
Yeah.
So we ended up going, getting up. It's so funny because I woke up at like 10:30 or so in the morning,
Yeah.
and I immediately was like, "Oh no, Mel and Vince, they're probably mad that it's this late, yada yada yada." Because you're an early riser. She's up at like 4:30 in the morning. You're up at like 8. No,
Wouldn't
not
have
8,
you known
6.
her to be up at 4:30 in the morning?
Well, she gets up before you and makes coffee and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, but not
4:30?
4:30.
Okay.
No, and she's only up before me making coffee when she has to be at work at a certain time.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, on the weekends, I'm up before her, and I'm like, okay, just shoot me a text when you want coffee because I'll leave the room so she can sleep. And that's usually 7:30, 8
respectable.
o'clock. It's respectful.
Yeah, okay,
It's
but
got all respect.
even
I'm trying to teach her a lesson.
but even still, 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning,
Uh-huh.
you are up on a Saturday.
I usually am. Yeah.
So at 10:30, and I'm like, oh crap, I can't believe we stayed up this late or slept in this late. So I reach out to you and I'm like, hey, jump in the shower, or whatever, or when do y'all want to get started? It's Buttermilk wrote back a half an hour later, like,
Yeah.
we just woke up. V's getting in the shower, and what are y'all we're thinking about leaving or whatever? And I was
Yeah,
like, oh
exactly.
wow, okay, I didn't realize it was that kind of morning. That we were just going to be lazy, which I love. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah.
I just thought in my head, we're going to try to go whatever, a different speed. And so I'm glad. Immediately after I saw that, I'm like, oh. So I kicked off my shoes, dropped back into my
There
bed,
you
had
go.
the window open. I'm looking
Yeah.
out. My room was perfectly perched where I could see over the building across the street from us,
Mm-hmm.
and I could see Lake Erie.
I think it is.
It
Erie,
is Lake
yeah.
Erie. In the background, it was really gorgeous. It
Yeah.
was a beautiful day.
Mhm.
So that was nice. And then I called for the car, went downstairs, met y'all, about an hour later. And then we were going to go to lunch, if you remember, right next door.
Next door.
But with the car and the valet, it was kind of a weird situation. It is truly downtown Cleveland. So we're think downtown, skyscrapers on both sides of
Right.
you. There's no parking.
No parking. Only valet.
You're only doing valet. Valet was extremely expensive. And so I was like, do y'all care if we go somewhere else? So everybody was up for that, and we went over to a place we'd been before,
we had.
but we had popped in a couple of years ago for Buttermilk's birthday.
We did.
We popped in, basically had like an appetizer and a couple of cocktails, and then we went on about our business. It's in a nice little downtown area, but it's not a like big city Cleveland downtown area. It's suburbs.
It is. It's a
Township.
suburbs like community neighborhood. I mean,
Neighborhood,
they had
yeah.
a neighborhood garden kind of thing,
Yes.
but a couple of restaurants, couple of bars, couple of lots of churches.
Lots of churches,
Yeah.
some retail stores,
Yeah.
and like the real crafty, like, hey, here's where you buy your some specialty gift, or here's like
Right.
a boutique.
This is where you get your hand-made,
Soap.
hand-milled soap. That's
Yes.
right where I was going with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's
And you
it's
can get a candle scented to match the soap.
yes, it's exactly. It's that kind of place. It's really cool, really trendy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they have a restaurant there, and I was like, let's go. So I surprised y'all. And
Yeah,
we
you
went,
did. You did.
and it's a New Orleans themed Cajun
I'm
restaurant.
so excited to go there.
I'm so excited to go there.
Excited to
So
go there and try their food.
I am obviously from Louisiana. Worked in New Orleans, went to college in New Orleans. Like, love my Louisiana Cajun food. We've talked about it on this podcast
We have.
before.
And my daddy's from Louisiana, like the hot sauce. So
Well, your mom makes the best. What, red beans or gumbo?
red beans, gumbo. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
She married two men from Louisiana. Not at the same time. Let's be clear. Not at the same
That would
time.
be
My father and my stepfather, both from Louisiana, and she learned how to cook what they like to eat to keep her men happy. And my mom and dad I call my stepdad my dad.
Yeah.
Just celebrated their 47th wedding anniversary a couple of days, July 31st.
so
So
it worked.
it worked. It worked.
It worked.
Yeah.
No, but we did go to that restaurant and had some really good food. It was hit or miss. Some things they did really good. Their red beans and rice.
Their painkiller was on point.
The painkiller was on point. The red beans and rice. It was weird when I first
It grew
got
on me.
it. It was like it was warm and not warm. It was hot,
It was hot.
not spicy hot.
No,
I mean,
but
it was
heat
like
hot.
1,000 degrees hot.
Fresh off the stove.
Yes, and I was in it, and it was like, I'm not so sure about this. And then, so I kind of like moved on to the gumbo. The gumbo was pretty good. Chicken sausage gumbo, pretty good. It needed some salt and pepper, but it was pretty good. The gator bites.
Oh, the gator
The
bites.
gator
were
bites
good.
were amazing. The
Yeah.
hush puppies, which you got, were like
Oh, they
good
were
old
so
South
good.
Louisiana hush
So
puppies. The shrimp, they called them like Cajun bites or something, but they were like shrimp basically.
Yeah, they were shrimp. A little spicy.
A little spicy, but really good.
Buttermilk's fried okra.
Oh, her fried okra, big, thick
Oh,
pieces
my
of okra.
goodness.
It was really,
Oh, my goodness.
like it was that stuff was like so much Louisiana. And then I went back to my red beans and rice after a little while, and I was like, well, this is pretty good. And I remember talking to you at the table, like we'd already been there 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, probably.
And went back to it, and I was like, this is really good. And then you tried it, and you're like, yeah, it is. So I think maybe it was served too hot, and
Could've been.
maybe the seasoning hadn't quite
Could have been.
done what it needed to do. But when it cooled off, oh, man,
Oh, it was really
it was
good.
really
It was
good.
tasty.
I enjoyed it quite a bit. Anything about it, like in Louisiana, if you're doing a red beans and rice, typically those restaurants only sell them on Mondays, and they will actually make a big batch of red beans and
Right.
rice, and they'll have them cooking all day
Sunday.
long.
Yeah.
And so when you get them, they're not fresh. They're actually have been cooked for a long time,
Right.
and they're delicious. But all those seasonings and everything
All those
really get in
seasonings,
there.
All that smoked pork gets in there.
Yes, and a lot of that stuff, it has to open up and
It does.
it has to develop. It's not like just adding salt.
Well, no, but the flavors have to meld over time. You know,
Mm-hmm.
my mom would do gumbo for Thanksgiving, and she would make her gumbo on Wednesday.
Yeah.
and it would go in the fridge. And then
Yes.
she would reheat it on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah.
And we'd have a little sample as she made it on Wednesday, Thanksgiving Day, that was a whole different
Yes.
flavor from all those flavors just coming together.
And I think of like anybody, if they have Italian lineage in their background, or someone that cooks Italian really well. The same thing with red sauces.
Oh, yeah.
And you put them together, put them in the fridge, let them sit overnight. The next day, it's totally different.
Totally different.
Those flavors just they marinate, and they just, like
Oh,
you
yeah.
said, they come together, and it's better. Really enjoyed the food. Again, a couple things. I got a crawfish etouffee that was terrible, but I mean, I ordered crawfish etouffee in Cleveland.
I gotta say that other than the red beans and rice,
Yeah.
the fried food, go there for the fried food.
Go there for the fried food.
I was not impressed with the gumbo either, the
Yeah.
seafood or the chicken and sausage gumbo. The etouffee I was not impressed with.
Yeah.
There was another dish I think we had that was warm, but we didn't care for. But everything else, all the fried food was perfectly seasoned. It was great.
Yeah, so two things. One, Eric just he's sitting in the audience. He just reminded me. He was like, the drinks were great. They were all of them were on point. And the but you're right, the fried food. So if we go back, or when we go back, because we probably will,
We probably will.
the red beans were good enough to
Sure.
warrant a trip.
Oh, yeah,
And the fried food, like you said, out of this world good. I would get probably some catfish.
Yeah.
I want to try their fried catfish
Yeah.
with some tartar sauce. I will say this too: their dipping sauces were outstanding.
Outstanding.
I mean, like
And they paired perfectly with the food.
perfectly.
They
it
paired
was-
great.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
It was really, really
my
good.
goodness.
So that was a great brunch. We sat in the patio. The weather was so when we started. The weather was like ever so slightly a little cool,
A little bit.
and then it went to ever so
Perfect.
slightly too perfect to ever so
Yeah.
slightly too warm
Yeah.
right as we were leaving. So we hit it at just the right time.
Yep.
It was a lot of fun.
My-
Enjoyed that.
My favorite part was the nap in the car after.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm the king of naps.
You are the king of naps.
Just saying.
I came back. You went to lunch today,
Uh-huh.
and so did Melissa, and I had to run out here to the office and grab some permits and go back to the yard. And I get back to the yard, and I'm like, oh, okay, where's everybody at? I've been gone for a
Mhm.
little bit. And I pull up, and in the van underneath the little covered
I
area,
found my shade.
I look over, and it's just you in the van, just knocked out.
Gone.
So I pulled up next to you and sit there and turn the van off and everything.
Slam the
and
door
just-
extra
and-
hard.
And looked, and I'm like, still asleep. I thought about blowing the horn, but I was like, that'd be rude. Was it the doors
It
closing
was
that
the
got
door
you?
closing
Okay.
that got me. Yeah.
I didn't know what it was. I
Yeah.
knew when I dropped that vehicle off and got my Jeep, and when I turned back around from the Jeep, I saw you were up and moving, so I
Yeah.
didn't know what woke you up. But
The-
it was a hot day. We did some work. We finally, so we had a little oopsie. Okay, we'll get back to the weekend in a second. So we had a little oopsie at the show,
Uh-huh.
the expo,
Yep.
and
Yep.
we lost the keys to the trailer. So we've had the trailer in our possession the whole time. We just didn't have keys to get in it.
Yeah.
So I ordered them, got them in, and today had a little extra help, and we unloaded the trailer and got everything back where it needs to go. But whew, it was
was
hot.
rough.
It was rough.
It was
It was
rough.
a lot of work.
Yeah.
And so I completely understand the wanting to just zone out for a second. But anyways, so
Back to the weekend.
back to the
post-nap.
weekend. So get back to Columbus, do a couple things, and then went down to Ohio State University Stadium and went to
The
this,
shoe.
the shoe, as they call it.
Mhm.
I don't understand the why. A horseshoe, but it's not a. Maybe it used to be, but it's
It
not
used
anymore.
to be before they did the work to close it in.
Yeah.
It used to be a horseshoe.
Can we call it something new then?
No.
Okay.
Historical. We're going to keep the horseshoe.
Well, maybe
Yes,
if they called
I
it.
know.
Maybe if they called it something new, they'd get some more championships. It was hysterical. Eric and I were walking around the shoe, as they call it,
Uh-huh.
and he was looking at all the dates. He was like, "Huh, it's been a little while for them," and I was like, "Okay."
Think about those schools that haven't had one since before then, or in this century even.
I follow what you're saying.
you know.
I follow what you're saying, but it's a powerhouse.
Eh,
I mean, of course, I'm an Alabama fan. Eric's an LSU fan, so
Well, and not to get into football talk here because that's not what we're here for. Because
Yes.
no one cares about this but me.
yeah.
They're going to dilute the Big Ten here coming up in 2024 when they bring in 6 more teams from the 12, which would
Yes.
now be the Pac-4, they're going to dilute that power quite a bit, especially with the mighty USC Trojans coming in to
So you
take
think
on.
Ohio's going to drop?
I think this competition will be so much more than what they have currently in the Big 12, Big
I can
10.
see that. I can see that.
That it's going to be a little tougher.
All right.
Now they're still going to have the home field advantage because that home field crowd is crazy.
Yeah.
We went to a game against Rutgers last season, and Rutgers was nobody, but that home crowd showed up and made a lot of noise.
Wow.
So, and you heard it, what it's like to be on the field
Yes.
and hear those
That
people
was all.
cheering.
That was crazy.
Oh, it's insane.
So we again we were there for the Stevie Nicks Billy Joel concert.
Yep.
Now I was fully ready for a 5-6 song Stevie Nicks opener
yeah,
and then the Billy
Move
Joel
on.
show.
Right.
And the show started at 7. Billy Joel went on at 9:30.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
She sang for 2 hours.
she did.
And I knew 88% of those songs.
I knew probably 50% of the songs.
I was shocked. I did
Buttermilk
not.
knew every single word to every single one.
Oh, yes.
Every single word.
Every
to
single word, every
one.
single.
Yeah.
I looked over all the time and her lips were moving the
Yeah,
whole
whole
time.
time.
And I'm like,
The whole time.
she didn't even sing that song. There was a couple covers and Buttermilk still knew them. But no, she has her voice spot
Still
on.
there. Still
Spot
there. Yeah.
on. Like
Yeah.
so many of these, even Billy Joel, some of those high notes, he can't hit. He's
Right.
still got a pretty good voice, but it's just not as it's lower. It's matured.
Right.
Elton John's definitely matured. A lot of his voice is a lot lower. He can't hit hardly any of those notes. Stevie, dead on.
It's dead on.
Like she was
Sure.
32 years old recording those records. I mean, like, amazing. And at 75 years old, 75 years old, belting them out, dancing on stage,
Yeah.
the whole everything. And then Billy Joel surprised everybody. He popped out for a song they did for Tom Petty.
Yes.
And
One that Tom Petty wrote for her. Yeah.
oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yep.
and it was electricity through the air.
I think that was a precursor too, though, to his set.
Yes.
Because he was actually out on stage with a microphone, dancing a little bit, moving a
He
little
was.
bit.
He was.
know?
So those of you who don't know, the four of us, we have actually gone to a Billy Joel concert down in Cincinnati last year, maybe 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
And I love Billy Joel, huge fan. He sings my favorite song of all time. I felt like at that show, here's a great singer with a great band, and he's just tired.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. I really
Like,
did
I
feel
didn't-
that.
I didn't feel like he was not giving his all. I felt like he was giving his all,
Right.
and that was all he could give. I was wrong. After seeing this show,
Oh,
he was obviously going through something.
yeah, he was.
Something was up
It
because
was fresh off of COVID.
he was fresh off.
He
of
wasn't. He
it's
wasn't
absolutely
in,
right.
in concert
It
shape.
was
Probably.
It was one of his first shows he
Yeah,
did,
It was.
and seeing him this time, oh my gosh, it was like a totally different act, and
Yeah,
it was
totally different.
it was freaking amazing. I saw on Facebook because I follow him again, one of my favorite artists.
Mhm.
He they had the video of him like riding his motorcycle around the stadium, meeting with fans and everything.
Wow.
Early on, like when parking
Okay,
lots opened
yeah.
at 3:00, and again when he came out, it was like a
Yeah.
wild man electricity. It was really freaking awesome, and so I had a blast. We went to almost midnight.
Yeah.
We didn't get back to my house till like 12:20,
Yep.
something like that.
Yep.
I mean, it was insane.
It was a great show.
It was a really great
Great
show.
show.
And like you said, so we had floor seats. We were thankfully lucky enough to get those, and we were pretty much dead center field. I would say pretty close, maybe 40-yard line of the opposing team.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
Probably.
so
But we were dead center as far as in the center of the
Between-
field to be
yeah.
able to see
correct. Yeah, we were
the
at
long ways of the field.
yes. So if you, yeah, and then we were between the sound booth and the stage,
Right.
which is always where you're gonna find your best sound.
Yep.
Which I love
I
that
know.
stuff.
I know you do.
And it was like listening to a CD. It was
It's great.
perfect.
It was great.
It was amazing sound. The whole thing was great. If you didn't go, you really missed out a wonderful show. And I did hear so many people say we didn't know Stevie Nicks was so good. And
Right.
and I'm there. I'm one of them.
Yeah.
I'm like I had no clue either. I mean,
Yep.
I love her music, but I didn't think she was going to bring it. And boy, golly, she brought
She
it.
did. She really did bring it.
It was a
She
wonderful,
really did bring it.
wonderful day, wonderful night. Freaking exhausted when we got home. Slept like a baby. I mean, like
Another day where we slept in
Yeah, like take a mirror under my nose to see if I'm still alive. A baby. And Sunday, I didn't do anything. I mean, I literally didn't do anything.
I think
When I say I didn't do anything, I got up, walked downstairs to the couch, sat down, and ate like noon,
the most
and watched television,
yeah.
chatted with Eric for a little bit, texted with you for a little bit, had dinner, went to bed. I mean, nothing got done. I didn't even put a load of laundry on,
The most
which bit
strenuous
me.
thing-
Monday I had to do
Oh, you
laundry.
did laundry.
Yeah.
Most strenuous thing I did on Sunday was take my iPad, grab a cigar, go out in the backyard, and sit and I watched a movie on my iPad and smoked a cigar, and that was the most strenuous thing I did all day Sunday.
I didn't even do that. And it was a beautiful day Sunday, and I was like, oh, this is a great day to go outside and hang out.
Yeah,
I'm not doing it.
I
I
actually surprised Buttermilk by doing it because she was still asleep when I was up.
Oh, I was
I had my coffee and a cigar.
I was so done. I was so
Yeah.
tired. And it had been a crazy week at work. And it was like, just to have one day of
Mhm.
nothing.
Yep.
The amount of recharge I got out of that,
Yeah.
it filled my Duracell battery right up to the top. It was great.
Yeah, and then today, emptying the trailer and the Sprinter van drained my Duracell
Drained it
battery.
completely.
It's gone.
Completely.
Yep.
So we have a few teams moving in this week. So
Mhm.
you're already hearing this probably. By the time you've moved into your truck, sorry. We're already done.
Yeah. But
but
your trucks were ready last
Your trucks
week.
were
They were ready literally
yes.
last week. Those
Last
trucks
week.
were ready. So
No, we did kick tail on that,
Yep.
and it was crazy.
yeah.
And the only thing I can think of now is Jerry.
Yeah,
How was your weekend?
it was good. Did some catching up, getting the podcast out Saturday morning, and just relaxed and stayed around the house. I didn't do much of nothing. I'm catching up on. I'm rewatching ER. I never
Really?
yeah, I
With
never
George
finished it.
Clooney?
I never finished it whenever it aired, so I got like halfway through. So I'm rewatching everything.
Nice.
I'm like 4th season right now.
Nice.
Wait, is ER's not John? Wait, who is he? ER is ER George Clooney or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, George Clooney and what's the other guy? Kind of balding. I can't think of his
He
name.
did. He played in. Yes, he played in. What's that? Tim Allen's show?
Our production assistants will help here soon,
Yes.
hopefully, with a little information. No, I'm thinking of the black guy from Law and Order, Anthony somebody.
The black guy didn't come on for a hot moment afterwards.
No, Anthony Edwards, the guy I'm thinking of.
Noah Wiley.
Noah Wiley was in that.
Oh,
too,
it is
yeah.
Anthony
It is Anthony
Edwards.
Yeah,
Oh, he did
see?
other stuff.
See,
Northern Exposure. Oh, I forgot about that one. Top Gun. Mark Green. He was Dr. Mark Green. I do
he was
remember
friggin'
him.
Goose in Top Gun.
Yeah, he was.
So yeah, I'm getting caught up on that and rewatching it. Don, I'm driving him crazy with it. So Don actually just bought a new bike. So he's
Really?
been going
Motorcycle
for,
bike?
No,
Oh,
a bike, pedal bike.
gotcha.
Is that safe in your
In your
neighborhood?
neighborhood?
Yeah. So he's been going for bike rides, and he went for a bike ride on Sunday for like 2 hours and
Really?
left me at home to watch ER.
Oh. I ride bikes.
He's trying to get me to get one.
Oh, you should try mine. It's great. It has
Yeah.
a 750 watt motor and lithium batteries. It's
Pushes you right
I
along.
wanted an electric bike, but no, he bought he got a
Schwinn track.
no, I don't know what brand, Grant or I don't
Giant?
know. Giant?
Giant is a brand, yeah.
Yes, that's what he
Yeah.
got. It's not a high end, but it's
No,
not.
but it's not.
yeah, it's like
It's
middle
not a
of the road.
Huffy.
Yeah.
Right on.
Now hold on a second. Some of us grew up with a Huffy.
I did too.
I did too.
Okay.
I got a Huffy story, but it'd probably be better for another time because we got so much going on in this
So
podcast
much going on in this
already.
podcast.
Yeah,
Well, that sounds exciting.
Yeah, it was a relaxing weekend.
We gotta have Don on the podcast.
we do.
We need to talk about
We really do.
his bike.
Yes.
Yeah, and what he does for the
I
company.
was going to say in his role within Hyfield too.
Yeah. He plays an integral role. He's very behind the scenes, but once you come over, you're going to talk to him at some point.
Right.
So
sure.
he's an interesting character. So and fun to hang out with, and witty, super witty. You wouldn't know it. You talk to him, everybody thinks he's like an angel,
Yep.
and
Yep.
and he can do the rapid fire wit that I'm envious of him for
Oh
that.
yeah, he can.
His whole family
brings
does.
it.
I know you talked about going up to Upper Michigan and hanging out with his family and everything, and it just sounds like, can I go? Like, I won't talk.
Yeah, right. I just want to listen.
I just want to listen.
Yeah.
I just want to sit on the stage at SNL
Right.
and just forget the show.
Yeah.
I want to listen to the side conversations.
Between
And-
him and his 3 sisters and his mom, I mean, every single one of them is just a constant back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
It sounds wonderful. It sounds like it'd be so
does.
much fun.
Just entertaining.
Yes,
Just friggin' entertaining. They need to start a podcast.
they really do. Can you imagine? That'd be a lot of fun.
Would be.
Well, we do have to talk about something. We alluded to it last week on the podcast, and everything has come to fruition.
Yes, it
so we
has.
finally do have to talk about it. Yellow. YRC, Yellow Roadway Corporation, 99 years in business, and effective this past Sunday, they have filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy, which is liquidation.
That is, it's tough. It's tough. There's a lot of people affected by this.
I'm sorry, I'm wrong. Chapter 11 bankruptcy, which is liquidation.
Right.
I agree with you. You know, we'll talk about what happened in a second, but the Real Trucker Couple 2.0, they actually reached out to, not reached out, but they posted a thing on Facebook the other day and Instagram. They were at a yellow yard picking up, the last remnants of freight that has been delivered, and they're kind of handling that. And the video he posted of all the empty trailers, of all the empty bobtails, of a place. If you've ever been to an LTL yard, a lot of people have, just to pick up freight to save a home delivery fee or what have you, even if you don't drive a truck. It's going and crazy, and they got forklifts left and right, and it's just a madhouse.
Out in the yard, you've got
those
yard dogs.
Yard dogs.
I was like, yard dogs everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's just, you got to be careful. You got to be on your P's and Q's, because they will run you over. They won't run you over, but I mean.
No, but you have to be careful.
Yeah, you have to be very careful in those yards. And it was like a Tuesday morning.
Yeah,
and
it was empty.
Dead silent.
And one thing, too, when you go to LTO yard during the business day, the docks are empty. There's not a bunch of trucks, trailers on those docks, because they're out making deliveries.
Correct.
You have a few here and there.
Yes.
But they're
a lot of empty holes.
Because they're doing their loading and unloading of those trailers at night after the business hours
100%.
when drivers are bringing tractors back in. That place was packed. I saw one hole on the dock.
Yes.
That's it, just one.
And it's just for people like he was,
like him,
grabbing a little bit of freight that was on a dock, stranded somewhere, and bringing it somewhere.
Yep.
I mean, it's sad.
Very
so
sad.
where we work, the company we get our tire chains from, I know it's innocuous, but they always ship our tire chains via Yellow. And I've been at Yellow Yard so many times. It's so funny. I got yelled at one time. I went there, and I was in a commercial truck, and I backed up to their dock, and I'm like waiting on the guy to come and deliver the chains on a pallet. And I've been to ABF yards. I've been to Old Dominion yards. I've been to FedEx Freight a million times. And so dock plate's there. I pulled the dock plate out. I set it on my trailer. Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
Guy came over to me, yelled at me, and he's like, they're a union shop. You cannot do that. And they are really strict on that.
Yeah.
So I was like, I apologize. I'm sorry. And I ended up just kind of stepping away. And the guy in the forklift didn't care. He was like, whatever, it's fine. There's always that one person in the yard. They loaded me, but I've been there multiple times since. Never have touched a dock plate again. But they always took care of me. They always did a great job. It was so funny. One time we got the chains delivered there. They brought them over to their mechanical shop, because those big hubs have a mechanical shop on site.
Where they work.
They take care of their own trucks.
Yeah.
And they thought the chains were for them, because it's in Ohio. They have tire chains here, and they put them on their own trucks. Yeah. And so they sent me over, and I walked over there, and they're like, we were wondering who these were for, because we use tire chains, but we don't use this vendor, and we don't use this style, and we didn't order any. Like it was so weird. And so we all had a great laugh at that, and they loaded me up, and I was on my way.
The last set of chains, Melissa and I went and picked up from there, and I pulled into the yard. Never been there before.
Yeah.
I've been to other LTL
And
facilities
it's
before, and you
big.
find somewhere to park and pull into the yard. And right when you get to their docks, they had a big sign for pickups. Call this number. Okay, call the number. Told them I was in a dock high straight truck. Oh, well, back in the dock so-and-so. Open yours back in the dock so-and-so and stay in your truck. Okay. Backed in, stayed in my truck. They loaded my two skids of chains in the back of the truck. Guy got me paperwork to sign, and I was on my way.
Yeah.
And we were there for maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Unheard of, but
Yeah.
it happened pretty quick. They've got their system down pretty. They had their system down pretty well.
Yeah,
for that.
and I think when you talk about something like a national company like an LTL provider, you really have certain stores or certain branches will run better than others.
Oh sure,
And ours was a smooth running machine.
Sure.
So and I say all that because that location is actually between our yard and the place we get our tire serviced
Right.
at. So when we go get our tire serviced, we drive right by the facility.
Yeah.
And the last time I drove by there, it was just eerie. It was like a week ago, and I'm like, oh man. And I think about all the faces and all the people that I met and all the people I worked
Right.
with and all the forklift operators and all the the mechanics I met in the mechanical shop,
Sure.
the office people,
Yep.
because I was there before you called. You actually had to go inside
Right.
and get your bill of lading, and you had to sign all that. All of them
Yeah.
are now looking for jobs.
For
Now,
jobs.
granted, a lot have found them, and some of the office staff and a couple of the dock workers are still there working.
Sure. Just wrapping stuff
They're
up.
wrapping stuff up, but it's boy, it's rough when you think about the humanity side of it. It's brutal. A
It's
company
brutal.
that's that
It
large,
truly
losing
is.
that many people, that many families being impacted,
Yeah.
that many drivers looking for a new position.
Yep.
And, I've heard a lot of people say, like, oh, it's going to be great for you. You're going to get all these drivers. Well, a lot of these people are local.
Yeah.
They are used to driving solo,
Mhm.
working a route, being home
Yep.
every single night,
Every night.
which is great. It's not our business,
It's not.
but it's what they're used to. It's what they're looking for. So now they're going to have to make some changes,
Yeah.
and their families have to deal with it. They're going to have to figure things out, and it's just rough. The human factor of this is brutal. Now, I will say, we have seen an uptick on our dry side, and a lot of it is us working with Yellow
Right.
and or not with Yellow, but with ArcBest and some of these other
Sure.
LTLs and getting some of this cleaning up their mess, so to speak. It's when you have a company that large go out of business, everybody else benefits, because of it. And so, with these kind of cases, Expedite always thrives in disruption. And when you've got is it number 2 or number 3 largest LTL that goes out of business, that's disruption.
It really is. It truly is.
That's disruption on a
Yeah.
huge level. So that's where we see that side of our business tick up quite a bit. Now, obviously on this side, it's mostly pharmaceuticals we haul.
Sure.
So not seeing a huge impact there, but on the dry side, it is having an impact, and it's going to have an ongoing impact. What's going to happen with this company is they have worked out a deal I saw with their creditors where they can keep basically enough cash in the bank to
Right.
pay employees so much money, obviously a very downsized staff. So you're talking like your managers of your local hubs and a few dock workers on site to be able to clean up, get things ready, and then they're going to liquidate that company. All those trucks are going to be sold.
Mhm.
All those forklifts.
Yep.
Well, a lot of those forklifts they don't own. They're leasing. So they're going to send them back.
Sure.
I was thinking about this the other day too. When you go to these LTL places, their forklifts run on propane. They're not electric because
No.
they're working too much. They don't have time to charge batteries. They have a wall,
Yeah.
a freaking huge
Well,
wall of
In Steve's
propane.
video, did you notice that wall of propane when he was scanning?
It might have been where I thought about this
Okay.
from. Tons of propane.
Yeah.
That's all got to go back to the propane
yes,
company.
it does.
Just little things like all their Xerox machines have to be taken out. All
Everything.
of their computers are going to be. Computers are tricky. They're probably not. They probably own their computers, but they're going to be parts pieced and
Sure.
sold pennies on the dollar.
Oh yeah.
I was reading somewhere
I
that
imagine
they.
a lot of this stuff's going to go up to auction or go for auction.
Yes, I
This
believe
liquidation auction.
absolutely. But they're. I don't see it. I've been looking for it since. I was watching a thing the other day. They were talking about it. They're company, their real estate holdings are multi-billion dollars in real estate
I believe
holdings.
it.
And a lot of these places, these terminals, they've owned them for years.
Yeah.
So if you've been at a terminal for 50 years, even if you had a 30-year mortgage on it, it's done and gone.
Well, think about what that terminal here in Columbus. It's got the tire shop on one side,
Yes.
and the other side is newer apartment
Yes.
buildings.
What's
What's going to go there?
I don't know what's going to go there, but I can tell you right now, it's going to sell for easy $10 million.
Easily.
Easy 10 million, if not more.
I,
Probably 20.
I think you're being conservative there.
I think I'm being very conservative. And even if it's more housing, they're just going to tear it down and build housing.
That's
like
it. Yeah.
it's which is interesting too, because a lot of these LTL terminals are not necessarily in the greatest areas of town.
No,
This one is.
it really is.
This one's in an
Yeah,
amazing
it
area
truly
of town.
is. Yeah.
So they've got, part of the problem is people were saying how do you put this nicely? They're worth more dead than alive. Their property holdings, their literally real estate holdings, their truck count, their trailers,
Right.
their all the tire chains, all the forklifts, all the pallet jacks, all the stuff that they own. Well, not forklifts, but everything else they own
Sure.
has so much value to it. It doesn't really make sense to hold on to the company. And maybe you would hold on to a company like that if you were a big enough company to absorb that.
Right.
We're talking like not even another trucking company. We're talking like an investment firm.
Right.
But their entire, or not their entire, 70%, 80% of their workforce is unionized. No VCs, no capital companies, none of those investment groups, none of them
They're not going to touch
are going to
that
touch a unionized company.
because they have to honor that union contract.
They do. They don't get out of it.
I think with the debt that Yellow had, along with their union contracts, that their sales would have to go through the roof in order for them to be able to pay that debt off. And that was the big problem, was missing debt payments.
Yeah. What was it, $1.5 billion, something like that?
Yeah.
But I even look at $1.5 billion. Yeah, $1.5 billion long-term debt. I look at that and go, it's a lot of money. To you and me, it's a ridiculous
Sure.
amount of money. To an investment firm that has a few $100 billion,
No, it's not a lot
you
of
can
money.
buy that company.
Right.
You could whip it into shape. You could make it a viable company, but no one's going to touch a company that most of your workforce is Teamsters.
No, and in a company that's going to buy them, going to make a purchase like that of anybody that's going out of business to take on that kind of debt and turn them around. They're buying them to liquidate them.
Absolutely.
They're buying them to get what they can, to make whatever group they can stronger.
Yeah.
And the rest of them, they're going to liquidate.
Well,
there's a lot to liquidate there.
Yeah.
But is there enough core business to have a company you can build up and then sell? The problem here, like you said, is the Teamsters.
yes. Yeah. That part of it is probably the nail I think that struck in their heart. Debt. People buy companies in debt all the time. It's not unusual. They absorb the debt. They pay it down cash. What was you've got? Who was it? Swift just bought out U.S. Express, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they assumed $800 million in debt or something like that. It's almost $1 billion in debt. And then they didn't assume it. They paid it off.
Right.
They struck a check and said,
"Here you go.
You're not in debt anymore."
Yep.
And then they paid all the stockholders or whatever it was the rest of the money. So I think it did with stock, but still, you get the idea.
Right.
So $1.5 billion, it's a lot, but it's really not that much. Not for as big of a company it is.
No, it's not.
It's that labor contract.
Mm-hmm.
It's that not knowing, and they're already in the middle of a labor war.
Right.
And so nobody wanted to touch that. And so now people that are buying it, because there's a couple capital companies that are actually buying it right now. They're buying it not to operate it. They're buying it strictly to liquidate.
Strictly liquidate.
Because they look at it and they go, okay, you got $4 billion in holdings. You have $1.5 million in debt.
Mm-hmm.
If we can fire sell at $3 billion, we still make $1.5 billion.
Yep.
And if it doesn't, we can only get like $2.5 billion. It's still $1 billion.
It really is.
And so that's why it's worth it to them. And that's unfortunately what's happening to it. Because, I mean, they don't really care about the drivers. They don't really care about the employees. They don't care about running a business. They care about short-term gains.
That's what they care about. They care about making money, period.
Yes.
And when you're a publicly traded company,
Yes.
you're beholden to your stockholders.
Absolutely.
And all the stockholders want to see is bottom line.
100%.
And when you have companies that lay off employees, their stock goes up. Generally speaking, their stock goes up. And I'm not a stockbroker. I'm not licensed anymore. I'm not offering financial advice
Yes.
here, but generally speaking, when a company files, sorry, let me back up a little bit on that, make sure I get my words right. When a company lays off employees, their expenses go down.
Yeah.
Which means their profitability can go up.
Yes.
And the company makes more money because they don't no longer have the expenses of employees or some of their employees. And that's what investors want to see is how quickly can I make a return on my investment in this company? And they see that money, that profitability go up,
Yes.
and they make more money, and they're happy. They don't care about the people behind it.
No.
They truly don't.
Yeah.
All they care about is what their bottom line is.
Absolutely. And it's, is that good? Is that bad? It's the American system. It's the model of capitalism. It's what makes capitalism not less than great.
I agree.
And at some point, privately owned companies have to make some of those same decisions.
Sure, they do. But they're making their decisions not based on what stockholders want to see.
Correct.
They're making those decisions based on we need to cut back on spending because our accounts receivable aren't where they need to be.
Yes.
So we've got to cut back on spending. They're not looking at, okay, I got stockholders that are pissed off at me.
Yes.
Because
They
not
can be
making
removed.
the money. We're a profitable company. We're not Hyfield. Let me speak from the ABC publicly traded company.
Yes.
We're a profitable company, but we don't have enough profit where our stock prices, where our investors want to see
Yeah.
it. So we've got to lay off 5% of our workforce to become even more profitable.
Yes.
Just being a profitable company in the eyes of the stock market isn't enough.
It's
how
not
much
good.
did you grow this year?
Yeah, it's growth.
Year over year, how much did you grow?
100%.
And if you can't show me growth, I'm upset with you and I want
Yeah.
changes. And that's the issue that we're looking at with capitalism. And just when you have a smaller company, you're not looking at, well, we're not as profitable as we were last year. We're not growing as fast as we want to grow. Maybe you are not growing as fast as you want to grow, but
Or maybe you're happy being where you're at.
maybe you have to.
Yeah.
Maybe you are making enough money to live a happy lifestyle,
Yes.
and your business is in a good place, and you take care of your people because you could lay off half your staff and be more profitable and put more money in your pocket, but that's not what you're after.
Yeah.
You're after living a happy life, whatever that looks like for you in general, and looking at your staff and going, they're doing pretty good too. I'm happy for them.
Yeah.
I'm happy where we're at.
And I think that's what when you look at large private companies, I think you see that. So you look at like In-N-Out Burgers, huge private company. What do? They grow very slowly.
Very slow.
They're painfully
Very slow.
slow on their growth. And because of that, everybody from the person who walks out and wipes your table clean after you've left to the person that owns the company, to the
Right.
truck drivers, to the regional managers,
Mhm.
everybody loves the company. People go there, they stay there forever.
You ever seen their trucks?
Oh my gosh, those
They're
Peterbilt,
gorgeous.
oh, they're
They're
beautiful.
gorgeous.
Um,
But In-N-Out, they grow slowly because they have a model that they want to stick with.
yes,
They don't freeze their beef. And that's a big part of In-N-Out's
Yes.
growth plan is if they can't get beef fresh to a store daily because they don't have the distribution center for that, they don't build a store. They just don't until they have that built out where they can get that beef to a store, the produce to a store where it's still fresh. They won't build a store there.
Yeah.
So they that's why they are slow in doing it.
Yep.
They're not looking at becoming, and they were founded back in the 60s, I think.
it was quite a while ago.
But they could be nationwide now because
Yes.
just based on their name, but they won't do it because one, they don't have stockholders that they're beholden to. Privately held company, they are taking their time to make sure that they have the appropriate staff to run those stores.
Yes,
They're not going to bring somebody in from Joe's Burger Shop that doesn't understand the In-N-Out way of doing things.
culture.
That culture. They're not going to just do it willy-nilly. They're going to make sure they have the culture to do it, and they can stick to their guns on making sure their produce and their beef is fresh.
Absolutely, and I think that's a huge part, of it is that company culture, that making sure the product I'm selling is one I'm proud of. The
Sure.
standing behind your product, behind your brand, behind your image, and In-N-Out does a great job of it. Another company, they also don't freeze their beef and they maintain a great image, is Hobby Lobby. another company that is privately owned, They're proud of what they stand for. They're proud of what they do, and they grow slowly.
Right.
They take out loans when needed, but they don't have a huge public offering. And they're not without their controversy. Hobby Lobby is one that does have a
very
little bit of
controversial.
controversy.
Yeah, very
They close on
controversial.
Sundays. They don't have a great relationship with the LGBTQ population, although that's kind of getting better, but not really. They had the Cotton Gate, right, where they had cotton in their store or something, and a bunch of people got upset because of racism.
I do my best to not follow Hobby Lobby's news, unfortunately.
That one I felt like was a stretch. But anyways, and then they make a lot of their stuff in Asia, which a lot of people are like, you're not even supporting American businesses.
Yeah.
So they certainly are not without their own controversy. But again, it's that same model, that same of we're building at a level that makes us comfortable.
Right.
Our families are good. Our employees are happy. Our culture's solid for what they believe.
Sure.
And they stick with that. So you do see those are two big privately owned companies that pop in my head, but you do see those larger private companies move a little slower.
Yeah.
And typically they're able to maintain a certain level. Drury Hotels is one. Privately owned hotel company. Make great hotels. If you're in California, you've never heard of them.
No.
Because they haven't made that far yet.
Okay.
They're working on it. They're based out of Missouri, and they are slowly growing across the nation. Been in business again since the 50s or 60s. They originally started with Holiday Inn and decided we could do it better than Holiday Inn.
Yeah. I think what happens there is capital, for one, right? If you are taking money that you're making in your company and you're reinvesting that money, and that takes time.
It does.
As opposed to taking out a great big loan.
Correct.
And then if something comes up with that, when you have that great big loan, well, I got to repay this loan, but the money's not there. I got to go public.
Yes.
And I have to sell shares to make up that money, and that's where you hurt yourself. So if you're taking it slowly and reinvesting back into the company, it goes a long way. Slowly,
yes.
But it goes a long way, certainly.
Yeah. And it's the kind of the lack of greed. It's the long-sightedness. A lot of privately owned companies that I've encountered and worked with, they're not looking for how can I succeed now. They're looking at how can my children succeed.
Yeah.
How can my business partners, kids succeed? How can our
Sure.
grandchildren benefit off this? So they have a little bit longer focus, and you see them move according to that. Stock market, not so much. You do see. So let's get back to like Yellow in specific. What caused them to fail? They do have a lot of debt. Not a crazy. I don't know that it's crazy amount of debt. It's a lot, but I don't know that it's crazy. Maybe a lot of people are saying it is, but I don't know. $1.5 billion doesn't seem nuts.
It doesn't.
Especially not when you're that size of a company, especially not when your assets are so much higher than what your debt is. Like what people get in trouble is when you have, if they had $10 billion in debt and they're worth $5 billion, well, that's a problem.
Sure.
And that's a lot of times what you see with this. It's very rare you see a company that I've encountered where their debt to asset ratio is not crazy out of line. Now, their debt to income is, but their debt to assets not really that far. So a few things I think it comes back to. One is just mismanagement, period. Just blatantly.
Right.
They did not do a very good job of incorporating all the companies together. So Yellow was a regional company that got big. Then they bought Roadway. Then they bought a bunch of other companies and expanded to be a nationwide company by just buying other companies. It's not a crazy way of doing it. Lots of companies do it. It just takes some time, right? Sorry, it doesn't take time. It takes money. So that's what they did. So their debt's not crazy. But so what they did is they bought a company, the Roadway Corporation. So Yellow Roadway Corporation, YRC. It's how they're kind of known. That was $1 billion of their debt, was just that one company.
Right.
So then they go out and they buy a bunch of other smaller regional companies, and that's how they get their nationwide network, and that's how they're able to become a big player. It's not crazy. We see people do it all the time. Singular Wireless, dying to become bigger, they merge with AT&T.
Right.
Become AT&T Wireless. They get huge. Sprint wants to
T-Mobile.
get bigger. They buy Nextel.
Oh, that's right. They bought Nextel.
And then T-Mobile buys Sprint.
Right. Yep.
So, that's not insane.
No,
we
it's
see it
not.
all the time.
It's not.
And I understand where they were going with that. What they didn't do was they didn't integrate those companies well.
Right.
So you had different regional opcos, which doesn't work. So when you look at FedEx, people go to FedEx all the time. They say, well, you got a company that's consisting of a bunch of different opcos. The difference is they're very specific,
Right.
and they are national. So if you want to put a pallet of goods on FedEx Freight, the FedEx Freight network is nationwide. If you want to put a box of a parcel, FedEx Ground
Right.
is nationwide. If you want to do an overnight, FedEx Express is nationwide. If you want to do FedEx Home Delivery, same thing, right? So yes, they are compartmentalized, custom critical, whatever. They are compartmentalized, but they're nationwide companies, and amongst that nationwide network, they are one uniform company.
Right.
So FedEx Freight, for example, or is it Freight or Ground? Might be Ground. FedEx Ground, I think it is. They started their company by buying other companies. They started with Roberts Express. When they
Right.
bought Roberts Express, they bought Roberts and Roberts Express. Roberts Express being custom critical, FedEx critical as we know today, and then Roberts being FedEx Ground as we know today. That was the tipping point, and then they bought other companies and integrated them into the FedEx Ground network, and then they expanded just by buying terminals and building their
Sure.
own product. And that's how they became that way, and everything is uniform, seamless. Yellow never took the time to invest into making sure it worked as a seamless
Right.
operation.
Yeah.
You do have people that worked with Roadway, and then in the same city or down the street, I work with Yellow,
Right.
or in the same street, I work with Holland America, that's a cruise line. Holland. So you've got people working with different people. You've got systems kind of working differently within the same network. And so right there, you got deficiencies. You got lost money.
Right.
You've got, when you're paying 3-4
got
times to the
redundancy.
exact same product,
Yeah.
it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So that was one major thing they did. The second thing was they are unionized.
Yep.
And look, you worked for a union?
I did not work for a
Oh,
union.
sorry, you didn't. Oh, yeah, sorry.
I was a union member.
You were
I worked for a union. I was a member of a unionized workforce. Yes.
Yes. And you worked in negotiations with unions.
I
We've talked
did.
about that before.
Yep.
In general, I get the idea that you are mostly pro-union. Maybe you're agnostic union.
I'm pro-labor.
Okay. So you've worked within the union system. And
Yes,
you
that's
know
correct.
about that. You've even gone through the union negotiations. You and I have a friend even that runs not runs. He used to run a union in California. So like a lot of my family is from Indiana, and they're car people. They work
Sure.
in union shops.
UAW.
Like exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm not. I don't want to sound like I'm bashing unions, because I'm not trying to. I will say the way their negotiations went, combined with a goodwill gesture of Yellow, combined with the financial problems at Yellow, two things I think broke down. One is I think that Yellow did a poor job of explaining to the union the financial situation they were in, so the union didn't understand what they were negotiating against, right? And I'm sure that's been used as a tactic of like, well, we're not making that much money, and so it's like, oh, of course you're not, right? So I don't think both parties really grasped the financial situation.
Sure.
In general, in capitalism, in America, like we've already addressed, people don't want to buy unionized companies. In general.
Because they're stuck with that contract.
Exactly.
They can't.
Now, they do it all the time.
They
So
do, but they can't.
A company my dad used to work for 10 years ago, they were a unionized company, and it got sold, and the new owners still run the union, or still work with the union.
Honor the contract,
So,
sure.
so it's not like if you're a union, you can't be a bought and sold company. That's not what I'm saying at all. It does take your desirability down a couple notches.
I think I can't speak to what happened with the union and Yellow. I haven't really looked at that.
Okay.
I think what you're referring to, let's say your dad's company, I'm going to speculate here, pure speculation, that the company your dad worked for was a profitable company and was a desirable company because of what they were doing and making money. They weren't going down the drain like Yellow was.
Correct. They got bought because they were profitable, not because they were good buy.
They were a desirable company.
Yes.
That whoever purchased them could fit into their portfolio and make more money and just be a better company.
Yeah.
That's why that was purchased with that union contract. My opinion on labor unions, you have good ones and you have bad ones. You have leadership of the union who is solely out to fill their pockets.
Yeah.
Okay. And you have leadership of unions that are there for the workers.
I see that.
I used to talk, so I went through the organizing process, the negotiating process, and I was a shop steward for a while. And I would tell people, members of the union all the time, look, if we were to get everything you're asking for, which was outrageous sums of money, well, the company that we work for, because we still do work for that company, not for the union,
Yeah.
the company we work for, if they were to pay you that, they'd go out of business.
Yeah.
They have numbers they have to meet as well.
Absolutely.
So we have to find that happy medium where we're at. And we were looking at, we actually, when we got a contract, everyone got a raise, a retroactive raise. I think it was like 6 months to when we first agreed to organize.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't what some people wanted, but everyone, the general phrase that we used all the time was it had to be for the greater good.
Yeah.
We're not going to give this group a really huge raise and not give this group a raise or any benefits to this thing. We have to find that happy medium, and I think we did a great job of doing that. But the union I was a part of, I was a member of, was really did care for the for the workers, for the members. There are other unions that aren't that way.
But
now, even though Yellow and UPS are both Teamsters, doesn't mean they have the same negotiating group.
Correct.
Doesn't mean they have the same locals. Even in the same city, they're not necessarily part of the same local.
Yeah.
They're different locals with different negotiating groups possibly, and they're looking at it from a different perspective. And I'm not saying that Yellow or UPS is out for the union, or either one was out for themselves, just saying it was different.
Yeah, and you see that with UAW, right? Like the contract they have with Chrysler is not the same as Ford, not the same as Dodge.
Correct.
Like that, it's still the same group of people, but it's very different. Or AOPA, or ALPA, or whatever it is that says the Airline Pilots Association,
Right.
or union. Like that stuff is different based on the organizing group and also the company they're organizing against. In this particular situation, if you believe everything Yellow's saying, which I don't think you do, but you have to at least look into it,
Sure.
or weigh it to a degree, they really claim that they tried to negotiate in earnest. The company said that instead of working with Yellow to negotiate a new contract, the IBT, International Brother of Teamsters, made its intentions clear to destroy Yellow. I don't think that's the case.
I don't think so either.
I don't think that makes sense for Teamsters,
It
because
doesn't.
a lot of those people are going to leave and go to non-union jobs.
Because now you've lost 30,000 dues-paying members.
Yes, gone. So I don't think that's the case. I that's where I go back to. I don't know that Yellow made it crystal clear the financial situation they were in, and I don't know how you have those conversations, right? Like that's a very tough situation to be in, and maybe they did, and maybe Teamsters thought it was, oh, this is what you're saying just to get a better contract. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I think that comes down to the relationship that Yellow has with their with Teamsters leadership.
Which definitely sounds.
It wasn't very trustworthy.
It was not very good. Yeah.
So I think that's where if you and I are having a conversation and we're being honest with each other, and we have a proven track record of working together and being
Yes.
honest with each other, I'm more inclined to believe you when you tell me that things are not going well and here's why, than I am if you and I just go back and forth and all you do. I'm making it one-sided.
No, I get that.
If all we do is lie to each other,
Yeah.
well, yeah, I'm not going to believe anything you say until I have concrete evidence. It looks like that was what the case was here.
It definitely feels that way. And again, that can fall back to poor leadership. Now, is that poor leadership with the Teamsters, poor leadership with the Yellow?
Yes.
We're never going to know. It's both of them, right? Like they're kind
I
of.
think so.
They're kind of both in it
I think
together at this point. I think your union failed you? Yes. Do I think that Yellow failed you?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The answer is yes on both those parts.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is when I say poor leadership, they kind of took this model of we're going to underbid everybody.
Yeah.
And we are going to steal as much freight as we can. Not steal, but take as much freight as we can because
At
we're
lower
at
rates.
lower rates because
Yeah.
we're the cheapest carrier.
Right.
So we'll be able to keep the wheels rolling,
Mm-hmm.
keep people making money, keep all the staff going. Because if we raise our rates, people are going to go somewhere else. And a lot of times Yellow doesn't necessarily know what someone next door's. They don't know what Old Dominion's
Right.
charging this customer. They don't know what FedEx Freight's charging this customer, or Saya or Ward, or there's a lot of players in the
Lot of
LTL.
players.
Or no,
Lot of
there's a lot of
players.
players in the LTL game, and so they took it and went a cheaper route, and unfortunately, it proved too cheap, and they were unable to keep their bank full.
When you lower your prices so much, it's hard to get customers to agree to pay a higher rate when you've been servicing them for so much less for so long.
It really is.
It's truly hard to get those rates back up.
It is, and when you decide, hey, I'm going to raise my rates 10%, but you're undercutting the industry by half.
Right.
You say, I'm going to raise my rates 10%. You now leave a window for an Old Dominion or a FedEx Freight to go in and go like,
Sure.
we'll do it for 10% too.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do think, well, I'm going to teach this person a lesson, right? And it doesn't work. It's a really rough situation. They undercut the market to the point where they couldn't make a profit. They don't have a good trusting relationship with their union, and they have a ton of debt. So I think that just it really came out to be a perfect storm. So I did see a video, I'm trying to think, probably a decade ago. It's been a long time. I think it was before we started the company. I mean, a long time.
Okay.
So maybe 12, 13 years ago. And it was Jim Cramer,
Mhm.
the Mad Money guy.
Yep.
If you see him on CNBC, he's insane about money. And he was talking about, as a company, first place is a great place to be. If you're number one,
Yeah.
you're in a great spot. If you're number two, you're in a great spot, because you're in a situation where you can partner with a minor person
Right.
and maybe become number one. Number three, you're in a rough spot. You're in a spot where you're fighting for market share. You're not really big enough for someone to come and grab you and then become number one.
Right.
It puts you in a really rough situation from a business perspective. I think that's what we see here. He kind of talked about it, and they kind of lived it out. They tried to become number one. They just never got there.
They never got there. And I think part of that is what you talked about earlier on the conversation. You know, they never were able to streamline those purchases that they made and grow their business that way.
Yeah.
You know, they made purchases and they decided to start a race to the bottom of rates and could never recover from that.
Absolutely.
They had redundancies of the different divisions they bought into the company. We'd call them opcos, I think.
Yes.
You know, they had that lack of structure that never came to fruition, and they weren't an attractive purchase for anyone
Yeah.
in the LTL market. So it didn't happen. They had to fend for themselves.
Yep. And then the debt to asset ratio just made them
Sure.
right for the pickings
Yeah.
for liquidation. So it's you know, at the end of the day, business is business. My heart does go out to
30,000 people.
all the people that are now looking for jobs.
Yep.
The great thing is right now the jobs market in America is really good. So a lot of them are going to find jobs.
Sure.
Is it going to be a lot of career changes? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Is there going to be a lot of people that have been with the company for 20, 30 years that aren't? I'm sure there's some, like they talked about in the article, there's people that have been with them for 40 years.
Yeah.
You've been with them for 30, 40 years. You're probably considering just calling it, retiring it.
Well, there was a video recently of a meeting that a bunch of drivers were having with their manager where they were told that their pension.
Has been, yeah.
So that got corrected.
Yeah.
But there was a driver who'd been there for 30 years, and now he's hearing his pension is gone.
Yeah.
After he worked there for 30 years and contributed to the pension because Yellow couldn't make that payment.
Yeah.
Again, that was taken care of a couple of days later. But, you know, that's hard to hear. You've been there for so long with making payments into a pension plan. Now, the union probably has a pretty damn good pension plan as well, but
Yeah.
but that you're paying into it on the union side. But you know, you want that contribution from your employer as well. So
Absolutely.
it's tough. It's really tough.
It's a sad situation. I know a lot of them have had very tough weeks.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm sure ABF, the FedEx Freights, the FedEx Grounds,
Sure.
the Old Dominions, R&L, everybody that runs that type of business probably got a flood of
Oh,
applications.
I'm sure.
They've already cherry picked the teams they want.
You know, UPS did.
Yeah, probably. And there's that's right, UPS Freight, which is now CFI. Not CFI.
No, I meant-
now it's.
I meant UPS as a whole because of their new contract with the
Oh
Teamsters.
yeah, 100%.
That's a different story for a different day.
Yeah, but so it's yeah, it's just I don't know, just breaks the heart. Rough situation. Our thoughts and prayers go out to everybody
They
affected.
really do.
Hope you can pull things together. You know, hope things work out for the better.
Yeah,
I know it seems bleak, but the great thing about America is we are the land of opportunity.
we are.
That hasn't changed.
It hasn't. It really hasn't.
Actually, one of the guys that I follow on YouTube, he's a airplane guy. Just moved his whole family over from London, not London, but England. He talked about it's always been a dream to move to America because of the opportunity that exists here. And it's like, you know, we think of people in England as kind of the same, right?
Sure.
Like it's just a different country.
Right.
Their dialogue is a little different, and they drive on the wrong side of the road. But other than that, it's about the same.
They
to
fly
think-
on the wrong side of the air.
They do. To think to think even someone from a great country like England, and I go to London probably once or twice a year. I love London. It's still America's got so much opportunity, so much offering. You know, you will find something else. So that's our take on Yellow Corporation, YRC. If you agree, disagree, please let us know in the comments.
Or if we've gotten anything wrong, please let us know.
Absolutely. Again, I said Chapter 7 early on, meant Chapter 11. We do make mistakes, so
Yeah.
please call us out on those, and we are happy to correct them. Real quickly, we do have to get into something that our union did a poor job of negotiating, and that is our contractual obligation to talk about the model airplane of the week.
We've got to renegotiate that
We
contract.
have to,
Yeah.
you know, we'll consider it maybe in like
I'm gonna put it on the calendar. We're
like,
gonna schedule a
yeah,
meeting. We're gonna
12
hash this out.
We have to.
12 more episodes,
Yeah,
and I
12
got to think about it.
episodes. All right.
So, if you remember, a couple months ago now, Eric and I were gone for a little bit for our birthdays. We went down to South America, to Ecuador, to get away for a little bit, and came right back. Had a great trip, and I was able, while we were down there, to fly a new airline. So, as an aviation geek, there's three things that are a lot of fun. The first thing is flying a new airplane, right?
Right.
Like flying an Airbus A320 or flying a 321 Neo or flying a 737 or an old 717 MD-90. We've seen the planes.
Yeah.
Like flying all those various types of airplanes in different configurations is like it's our crack. We love it. It's so much fun. The second thing, another airline. So flying Delta, United, American, Southwest. You know, all four of those companies fly 737s. What's the difference
Yeah.
in a 737 from Delta to American to United to Southwest?
What is the difference, Patrick?
Delta's first class has movie screens. United's and Americans don't, and Southwest doesn't have first class at all. So that's right there. You see, United is going to lose your luggage. American may not even fly the plane. I'm not an American airline fan. I apologize if you are. They are. It's just really cool to see the differences in
Okay.
how they run their network, how they
Right.
fly their airplanes, what airports they go to.
Gotcha.
If you fly United a lot, you're going to go to Denver all the time. You fly American, you're going to go to Chicago or to Charlotte all the time. You fly Delta,
Atlanta.
you're going to know Atlanta really, really well, or Minneapolis or Detroit. So it's kind of fun to learn those networks and fly the different airlines. The third thing is flying on an inaugural flight. So that's a flight that this is the first time we've ever flown this particular route.
Or this particular plane.
No, usually route.
Okay.
So like the first time we fly, you know,
Columbus to Los Angeles.
Columbus to Los Angeles. It actually just happened. Maybe just 2 years ago. United Airlines. I'm sorry, it's not Los Angeles, San Francisco. It's the same place, right?
Yeah, same place. Only 350 miles away.
Yeah. So Columbus to San Francisco,
Right.
it came out, I think, about 2 years ago, and it was a big deal. Like, you can fly directly to California from Columbus, Ohio
Yeah.
on United Airlines. So that would be one. That was an example of an inaugural flight. Didn't exist. Now it does.
Right.
And they still fly it. So this, for me, was not a new airplane. It wasn't an inaugural flight. This was a new airline. This was Avianca. It's an Avianca Airbus A320, flown on quite a few A320s. But Avianca was new to me. They're a Colombian company. They're based out of Bogota. Been in business since 1919. So they're well over 103 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, 104 years old, right? Yeah. Been in business for a really long time. And I was excited to actually get a chance to fly on them. So we flew on them twice. The first time, beautiful airplane, red livery, red and gray with the white. It's really, really nice, very Colombian. It just felt very cool.
Okay.
And the inside was nice. They like really do it nice. So you have their seats don't have television screens,
Right.
but instead, you know how you have the fold down tray?
Yeah.
Right above that is a fold down little clip for you to put your iPad or your phone
slick.
in. So as you're eating, you can be watching
Right.
your iPad or your phone.
And do they have the thing where you go onto their website and
Yes.
are able to watch
The free
content
movies
from there? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So really enjoyed that aspect. Their flight attendants were amazing. Cabin crew was so nice. So I really was excited and wanted to get that red livery, typical Avianca
Right.
airplane.
Yeah.
Can't find it anywhere. It doesn't exist. Does not exist. They've painted all their airplanes this for like the past 4 years. The model doesn't exist. I was shocked. But on one of my legs, we flew a Star Alliance branded Avianca airplane. So
Okay.
alliances are when a group of airlines get together, usually not competing networks, and they say, hey, let's work together. You do North America really well. I do Europe really well. You do the Middle East really well, and you
Right.
do Asia really well. So together, we can fly someone from Asia to Europe or Asia to America.
Right.
And so that's why if you get an international ticket, you may fly with Delta, but get on an Air France airplane, right? So they're
Right.
all
and you're earning your Star Alliance points.
exactly. Well, and SkyTeam there, but yes, Star Alliance
Sorry.
with Avianca. So we flew a Star Alliance Avianca airplane. So imagine my shock when the only airplane I can find for Avianca is an Airbus A320 Star Alliance livery airplane. So airplanes are the airlines are required to have a certain percentage of their fleet, like 1%, 2% of their fleet has to be in their alliance livery.
Okay.
So it's very rare you're on one. We just happened to be on
Yeah.
one. The fact that they had a model of it is insane. Like, that's crazy. That wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
So that's what we ended up getting. I ended up buying was the Star Alliance Avianca A320. Flew this airplane again down in South America out of Ecuador. It's really cool when you walk up. This was one that was really fun because they don't have the airport didn't have a jetway. Thank you,
Yeah.
jet bridge. So we actually had to like just casually walk out to it and board with air stairs, and the jet engine's like right there next to you.
Yeah.
And you're watching them load the luggage on, and you understand why things get broke. And so ended up being a great flight. Had a blast. Couple 2.5 hours each way, and I really like it. A really big fan of Avianca. Can't wait to fly my next trip with them. They do have some wide body jets that do long haul flying. Wouldn't think twice about doing it. But Star Alliance, so that Avianca is one of the South American members, but they are in America. We think of them as United Airlines. That's the big
Okay.
one. So United Airlines, Silver Airlines co-chairs with them. Lufthansa, your favorite,
My favorite. Yeah.
is another big one of theirs. So Swiss Airlines is another one. Big company or big alliance. A great group of people. Star Alliance is one. Obviously, I'm Team Delta, but Star Alliance is one where if I lived in Texas or somewhere where United
Sure.
has a bigger presence, I wouldn't
Right.
think twice about going. They are like my second favorite, but they could easily be my favorite if I just flew them more. Used to be back in the day, I flew Continental a lot, and they were Star Alliance, and then United bought them, and anyways. So
Delta's so much easier from here too.
Delta's really easy from here. I mean, it's hour and a half flight to Atlanta. I think pretty or Minneapolis or Detroit. We have lots of options.
Yep.
Whereas if you fly United, it's pretty much New Jersey or Denver.
Right.
It's not ideal for what we do. Although y'all flown them going home, right? A couple times.
We flew them on that trip that flight you mentioned from Columbus to San Francisco.
Oh, you did that one.
We did that one once. We came back a different airline through either Salt Lake or Denver. I forget which one was on that flight, but we based on fares, we just got the cheapest fare getting there and getting back, so it worked out well.
Yeah.
The other one that has a direct flight into California now is Breeze.
Oh, I did see that.
Breeze Airline travels from Columbus to Orange County.
Yes.
In southern Los Angeles, basically. So
and they're doing that on A220, which is a nice airplane. I'm a big fan of the A220.
I was looking at that, and their seating arrangements they don't call them first business, but they have different classes, and they've got USB-C charging ports on all their seats and all kinds of crazy stuff. And the price for a mid-class ticket wasn't bad.
Yeah,
wasn't bad.
They're very fair. I will say I'm concerned overall as I think a lot of AV enthusiasts are on them because they're burning through a lot of cash. So right now they're losing a couple $100 million a quarter.
Wow.
Or not a quarter, maybe a year. But that's to be expected. It was kind of planned.
Sure.
Like it's very difficult to start an airline. So they're gaining traction, but it's just, man, they're blowing through a lot of cash. But I hope they succeed. I really like what they're doing. The guy that founded Breeze is the guy that founded JetBlue.
Okay.
He's worked with, I think, TAP Air Portugal. He's done a lot for the industry. He's been in it for a very, very long time. Hope everything goes well because they are providing some very cool routes, like to markets that you don't normally get to go to. Like
not direct.
Yeah. It didn't work, so they canceled it. But for a little while, there was like a Columbus, Ohio to Huntsville, Alabama, where most of my family's from.
Wow.
And I'm like, that's a crazy good route for me. But again, that one didn't work out so well because it is an odd city pairing.
Sure.
But they're kind of getting their network figured out, and I hope they're successful.
Yeah,
I mean, they provide a really good product.
And they only fly it twice a week. I think a Tuesday and Saturday or something.
Yeah.
But figure it out.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Right on. Well,
cool.
Thanks for sharing that with us, Patrick. We really appreciate the airplane of the week.
Yeah,
one day I'm going to have one.
You will.
I will.
Well, you know what? There's I hear rumors that you're going to be flying in December.
I will be flying
towards the end of December, maybe just after Christmas.
I'm hearing I will be flying the end of December. I don't keep track of my social calendar. Someone else does that for me. So they tell me, next week you're going on a plane. Okay.
Well, maybe we can see if you can possibly
have a plane of the week.
Well,
that's beyond our 12-week contract, though, that we have currently.
I have a feeling your union's weak.
Well, having said that, I have to tell you that your yak is weak.
My yak?
Your yak.
Yak?
It's an inside joke with my ex-wife and my daughter.
Okay, well, I'm all right.
They watch the show. They'll get it.
I do love it. A good inside joke that three people across the country, country get.
They'll get it.
Hey, we are coast to Midwest. All right, so that's all that matters.
That's it. That's all that matters. So December, I'm going to be flying in December.
You're going to be flying to the one and only Orlando International Metropolitan Regional Airport.
Am I going to get to go to Disney World for the first time in my life?
No, but you're going to fly close to it. That counts for something.
Can I see it from the plane in the sky?
No. Mm-mm. But you'll get to fly into the airport that
services
them, but they don't
Disney
even have
World.
the Disney buses anymore, so you won't see those either. I was just thinking about it, like they've really pulled Disney out of the Orlando International Airport, haven't they? But you will, you'll be in Florida. It doesn't. Okay, I can't sell it any better. So, anyways,
I just googled Epcot Center, so I'm seeing a picture of it now. So close enough.
Well, that'll be because you're getting on an
airplane
on a cruise ship, December 30th.
Am I?
30th.
Am I?
What are dates?
Trying to get confirmation from Buddy.
December 30th, you're going to be getting on a cruise ship.
Oh.
And I believe you are going on what is being called Royal Caribbean's Wonder of the Sea.
Wonder.
The world's largest cruise ship.
Wow.
At the time. For Hyfield at Sea.
Oh, Hyfield at Sea. Is that what that is?
That is what that is.
I thought that was all about getting seasick or something.
No, we are anti-seasick. That's why we chose the world's largest cruise ship because it doesn't move.
Fabulous stabilizers.
Yes, it's. I've cruised a lot. It is like you can't even tell you're on a boat.
Nice.
You'll be walking down the middle of the boat and be like, I missed the sail away party. Like there's just water around us. What happened?
Right.
How did I miss that? I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. That is December 20. I kind of stop saying that. December 30th through January 7th. Royal Caribbean's One of the Seas. It's the biggest boat in America, in the world. Our biggest cruise ship. It's going to be a lot of fun. We have a lot of people from Hyfield, the contractors that are going. We have most of the most of the Hyfield staff is going.
Cool.
And it'll just be, it's a dead week in expediting. If you're like, oh, I'm going to stay out and work, you're not.
Yeah.
You can stay out, but you're not going to work.
Not going to work.
It's dead for the industry. That December 21st through like January 5th there's no freight. Is there,
No.
Jerry?
No, there's not.
No.
So I recommend you book a ticket and come join us on that cruise. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be warm. It's going to be hot. If you're from up north and it's going to be snowy, be a nice little reprieve from that.
That's my birthday week too.
You'll be 60, right?
I'll be 60.
Yeah. So we're gonna have a lot of fun. Comedy shows.
Oh yeah.
Sports bars. Zip lining on the boat. That's not even sarcasm.
Zip lining.
Zip lining on the boat.
Can I zip line and drop into the pool?
No.
Oh.
No, but you can zip line across the boat.
Can I zip line
No.
and end up?
End up what?
I wanted to end up on the surfing thing, like zip line, drop down, and end up on the wave surfer
You
thing.
can zip line, drop down, walk on the same deck over, a few hundred feet, and then stand in line to get on the surf thing.
Okay.
Because it does have the surf thing. So if you've seen is it Wave Runner?
I can't think. It's not Wave Runner. It's Wave something or other.
Wave Puncher. Wave Rider.
Wave Rider. We
Yes.
were close.
You can do the surfing on the ship.
Right.
It's actually really cool. I haven't done it yet. So if enough of y'all show up, then maybe I can be convinced.
Yeah.
They actually have like a full. They actually do have.
Oh.
They do have like not theatrical seating, but like bleachers.
Yeah.
So you could actually
You
just
sit
sit
there
there
and
and watch people.
I have an idea.
Oh.
We talked last week
I see what you're saying.
about our foosball championship.
Oh.
I say that
Yeah.
maybe we place a little wager on this foosball championship. The loser
Okay.
gets to go on the Wave Rider
Oh, I
in
thought
front of all.
So the Wave Rider
Hyfield.
is split, so you can do two people on it at once.
You can.
So I thought we were going to do whoever can stay on the surfboard longer.
I think that might be a good idea.
And you are from Southern California.
I am.
You've done it. You've
Shako
done.
bra.
Yeah. What was that?
Shako bra.
What's that mean?
I don't know.
I'm from South Louisiana, y'all. We don't do a lot of surfing in them bayous. But I don't even know if they'd let me surf. You actually, so they do the like the knee boards,
Yeah.
or they do the surfing, and you actually have to prove that you're.
I think they start you out on the knee boards.
Yes.
But I think that we can still wager on who can stay on the knee board the longest.
I believe so.
I think that'd still be a valid
It'd
wager.
be a lot of fun.
It would be a lot of fun. A really
All right.
good time.
Maybe the loser has to buy the winner a steak at the restaurant.
Maybe.
So for those who don't know, we've already talked about we're probably not doing the fancy dining. We're
Yeah.
doing just the basic dining,
Yeah.
saving money, and the food's great on
It is
Royal
great.
Caribbean.
Yes, it is.
They do have like not a New York strip, but it's I can't think of the cut of steak. It's a good cut of steak. They cook it really good.
Mhm.
It's on the menu most nights, and it's part of it included.
Yeah.
But you can buy a premium filet mignon
can.
or a
is it
ribeye.
T-bone?
Maybe.
Is it a ribeye?
I think it's a ribeye, and they usually do a strip that you can
Yeah.
buy. But I'm telling you right now, it's not worth the money. Like not because it's not a good steak,
no,
but because the regular one is so
it's
good.
so good, yeah.
Or sometimes they'll do like braised short ribs, or they'll
Right.
do. I'm getting hungry.
Oh, my
Anyways,
goodness.
lobster with prime rib. So it
Yeah, I
I
think,
should have had dinner first. I'm understanding I should have had dinner before the podcast. So, anyways, it's a lot of fun. But I think loser buys the winner a gourmet steak dinner.
I'm right there with you. We've got it on tape. Jerry's
right.
gonna pull this aside and
Yes.
remind one of us
Yes.
that they have to buy the other one a gourmet steak dinner.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if there's foosball on the cruise ship,
Oh my goodness! Watch
we
out!
can finally finish
Watch
this.
out! Well, we
once-
need to finish this before the cruise ship. We can't let this linger for.
I think we can.
We can't let this linger for 5 more months.
Why not?
I think that would just be.
It's about patience.
But you have the board at your house now, so you're the table at
Well,
your house.
okay,
so
so
you're
I
playing.
do. The reason it's at the house is because it's a little wobbly.
I get it.
We maybe went a little too aggressive on it. So it's here now to be. Where is it?
It was in the back of the van.
I mean, where's it now? We have to find it because where it was before, there's a car there now. So
Yeah. So
Anyways,
we have to figure
it was-
out where it's going to be.
see,
this
the
point.
rules and regulations of when we were assembling this
Maybe if
thing
you were
said
listening to us,
screw it on and screw it together.
right?
And then use glue with it as well to glue. And we skipped the glue stage
Yeah.
and quickly realized that was
That
a
could
bad
have been
idea.
a problem with keeping it stable.
So now we're going to disassemble, glue,
Reassemble.
and reassemble.
Okay.
So
But the point still being, you have the foosball table at your house now
okay,
versus, and you can practice whenever you want. We had to find a local dive bar with a foosball table.
we do. Yeah, put that on the agenda
on the
list
to-do list.
to do. That
You're
way I
going
can-
down. I'm just saying, you're going down.
We'll see.
Both in foosball
we will
and
see.
in Wave Rider.
We
you're
will
going down.
see. Listen, if you want to see us take this out and finally explain who's boss,
Yes.
come join us on the Wonder of the Seas for Hyfield at Sea.
Yes, please.
And we'd love to have you there. The code for Hyfield at Sea is gone, so just book through the website, book through your local travel provider, book through CostcoTravel.com,
Yes, good place.
RoyalCaribbean.com, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Check those rates all the time. They're constantly
All
in
the time
flux.
changing.
They're up and down. If you buy it through Royal Caribbean's website, and I think most everywhere else, but I'm definitely know for Royal Caribbean's website, and the price comes down before the cruise, you can actually call them. They'll give you a refund.
Yes, they will.
They're a great company about that. So it's a lot of fun. Gonna be a lot of really great Hyfield people there. I already know most of the list. There's quite a few that have booked outside of our group, so I know a few of those, but I don't know all of them
right.
that are going to be coming. But I know the people I know going. It's going to be a hoot and a half.
Looking forward to it.
Can't wait.
Looking forward to it.
Jerry, thank you so much for producing this show. You've been wonderful.
Thank you for your
We
patience.
haven't really heard you say anything, so please let us know. What have we forgot to say?
So if you would like to join the Hyfield family, go to our website at www.hyfieldtrucking.com. Send us a message over there. You can chat live with one of our recruiting agents Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Either me or lovely Melissa, a.k.a. Buttermilk, or Delina. We would love to talk to you and tell you all about it.
Or Kayla.
Or Kayla.
Eastern time.
We'll get this spiel down eventually.
One of these days.
All right.
Yeah. See, this is how you lose negotiating power.
If you have any questions or comments or any suggestions for the podcast, send those over to us at theouterbeltpodcast@gmail.com. We do read all of those, and we would love to hear from you. Check us out over on Facebook, Instagram. We do post plenty of social stuff over there, and get in touch. We'd love to talk to you. Hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button. If you know anyone that would be interested in doing what we do right here on the road and enjoying and embracing the expediting lifestyle, make sure you share the video. Get it out there so other people can see. And,
We do have some exciting things. We got a couple more tractors that are going to be delivered here in the
Sweet.
next couple weeks.
Great.
Custom sleeper, big ARI sleepers. We're putting them on both FedEx and Panther. And if you're interested in doing that, and you're like, I don't know about the straight truck thing, but you're thinking like, hey, big bunk sleeper tractor
Yeah.
with bathroom, shower,
And you've got a year of
all stuff.
experience driving a Class A truck.
Yeah, absolutely. And your team, we do have these very, very nice trucks
Very
about to
nice.
hit the ground. Super excited about.
Can't wait.
And we'll be doing some tours and things like that as well when the time when we actually get them in our possession. But we would thank you so much for sharing us with everyone. Thank you for spending, a couple hours with us.
Yeah.
I know some weeks we go a little long, like this week. Apologize for that. But we enjoy what we do. We enjoy hanging out with you. We will be doing a live soon. We haven't narrowed that date quite down yet, but it is coming up
Soon.
And we thank you so much for being you. In the meantime, until we can talk again, stay safe and make good decisions.
And don't leave money on the table.
And keep those wheels a turning.
Good night.